the results have been overturned over time. So those are some of the things that we also need to think about in order to enhance women participation in leadership. Then also in terms of support to response mechanisms, as we know, FIDA-Kenya runs a toll-free line, and I've given the numbers there. This toll-free line are manned by staff who are quick to respond to matters. So if you can be able to continue supporting this structure, that is very crucial in terms of responding to SGBV matters, could also enhance our participation, women participation in leadership. Then the last one is the support to virtual justice centers. And with FIDA, this came as a need when during the COVID-19, whereby we had limited mobility, and most of the SGBV victims could not be able to access justice because of that. So we gave birth to virtual justice centers, and FIDA-Kenya supports 9 of them, 3 in our regional offices, and 6 in women prisons spread across the country. So with this, most of our women are able to access justice virtually, and out of these, we have seen successes whereby most of these SGBV cases have been handled effectively. So if you can be able to get support from the program to continue supporting these virtual justice centers, will be a good direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Christabella. Surely we can clap better than that. Yeah, let's clap better. So before I open the floor for questions to Christabella, FIDA had money for a gender audit. They reprogrammed the money. FIDA has 3 studies, a budget for 3 studies. Awesome. So let's consult, because I'm sure part of it has been used, because part of the work you're showing is familiar from your budget for year 3, and from your annual plan for year 3. And then also, FIDA, these are things that you can put in your annual plan for year 4. Please send it to me. Yeah, so just when you send me your plans and budgets for year 4, I'll be able to approve, at least on awesome-related activities. All right, thanks, Christabella. Any questions for Christabella?
I'm just curious about the psychosocial support. Yeah, I said it correctly, because I think you mentioned yesterday that some women, in order to raise funds for running, they would like quit their jobs and sell their houses, and then if they didn't get the seat, they find themselves in like a very just a very tight spot, having used all the resources for the campaigning. So I'm just curious to know how does that psychosocial support looks for these women that didn't win the seats. Because it was, I think, so it was in the previous slide that FIDA provides psychosocial support for SGBV survivors. So maybe I'm confused, and this is not the same support that is provided for women that are also running for seats. It's like 2 different strands of work. I was just curious to know how that support looked like.
What we are supporting under the program currently is psychosocial support to SGBV survivors, but you're not providing psychosocial support to women who did not make it in elections under the program. But you have another different program that supports that. So that is what I was requesting. And the psychosocial support I'm talking about is in terms of we do group therapies. We hold those the survivors together and just have group therapy, but we also have individual counseling. Yeah, depending on what the client prefers. Yeah.
Questions, input for FIDA? And Teresa has added that it's all.
Yes, I just wanted to add on because at times, looking at because we implement in the entire country, so at times you find the survivors cannot come to the office. So we also work with our external pool of counselors spread out in the country, and we also offer the psychosocial support through the toll-free line and also through our lines. Yes.
Now, in politics, women, when women vote and they lose, do they remain aspirants or do they become women leaders? They become women leaders when they lose. The question is, when women vie and they lose, when they win, they become women leaders. What about when they lose? Do they remain aspirants or do they become women leaders?
Okay, most of the time what happens, let me now speak for, I implement in Mombasa region. So what I've seen, most of them, when they lose, now they start now trying to venture into other leadership positions. It has worked perfectly in Kilifi. For some reason, I think the fact that they come out to speak and try to give out their manifesto on what they want to do for the women and probably participate in leadership, you find like the county has mapped out these women and given them some good roles in the county. Yeah. You should come to Kilifi. All the women, all the great women come from Kilifi County. Oh, you're from Kilifi. So I'm not telling you news.
So I just wanted to add on to, I love the explanation she's given, but I think maybe to distinguish between women political, like if you know political office, but to expand on what she said, if they do not get into office, they do explore other political offices. They also can form opposition, which is also in itself a great political position for women. But in their essence, the fact that they run does make them leaders. As to whether they get into office, then takes us into the regime of whether they're in government and in those particular positions that they were running for. So they are still leaders and form that nice body of women leaders in all their diversities.
Further questions? Any other questions? Okay. Fekadu, you have a question. Please pass the mic to Fekadu.
For explanation, maybe the Leadership Academy they have established to increase the participation of women, and how did you do that? Maybe.
Repeat your question, please.
Yeah, you have this Leadership Academy. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, how did you just do that? The academy, is it owned by you or? And how did you get the fund? Because we have maybe the election in the future, and also we want to just learn from you. Yeah.
Okay, the Women Leadership Academy is a strategy that FIDA came up with because it was informed by the gender audit that we did in 2017. And we just thought that it's good to have these women aspirants together, give them some capacity enhancement, and also support otherwise for them to comfortably participate in the political arena amongst the male-dominated space. So one of the things that was happening in the academy was mentorship, training on various topics that will support the women initiatives. We also did branding for them because we issued them with IEC materials, IEC, in terms of maybe lessons. We also did branding for them on billboards. We offered visibility spaces, for instance, giving them supporting radio talk shows for them, and also television talk shows for them. And the criteria that we used to get these candidates into the academy is just a free advertisement. Any woman who is willing to vie for political seats at all levels. So we are not discriminating. We just sent out an advertisement. Any woman can be able to join the academy. And it's something that we are still having up to the moment, because out of those 340 women, we've not lost touch with them. Just to answer maybe what also Lillian had said, because some of them did not make it, but they're mentoring. We usually call them in forums just to motivate other women on how they can still navigate to inspire women who have such a vision even outside the formal structures of leadership. So those are some of the things that we did in the academy, and we are hoping to continue with that coming 2022. And just as most of us have attested, Kenya, we campaign every day. It's a campaign tool. We are not sitting down, because even some of the women leaders who failed are forming the part of the they were nominated into these seats, and they are very vocal in the opposition. A very good example is our Iron Lady. Yeah, she was also a member. She was part of the academy as a mentor, and she's also a FIDA member, by the way. She's also our FIDA member. Yeah. Have I answered this question? Oh, funded. Yeah, very good development partners, including AWESOME. AWESOME really played a very big role. And I also want to appreciate the slogan, the Vote Adada campaign is fully supported by this AWESOME program. The Vote Adada campaign is supported by the AWESOME program. Yeah, and of course, other well-wishers also contributed to that. Yeah.
I thought there were no questions. Now there are lots of questions. FIDA, be prepared.
Thank you. Just based on listening from what I've had today, and even knowing the work that FIDA does, and looking at especially the Kenyan landscape, and the media plays a crucial role in how especially it portrays women in leadership. And I don't know if we have plans on, if it's media sensitization. I don't know if it's done. I'm still new, I'm still learning. But then what initiatives, what plans do we have to ensure that we can engage with the media in how especially they portray women? In the past, and I'll speak for Kenya, women are either objectified, how have they dressed, or are they married, single mother, and stuff like that. So how are we working towards mitigating such stories and negative press on women who have so much potential to taking our countries to the next level? Thank you.
Okay, I think during my presentation, I mentioned the importance on how we did media campaigns and their contribution to both the advocacy aspect and projecting the women leadership sensitization campaign. Another thing that the media did just apart from that sensitization initiative is training. We held various trainings with the editors, the Media Editors Guild and the Kenya Union of Journalists, just to help to emphasize on the importance of gender-sensitive reporting. For example, if the media reports concentrates on body shaming on these women leaders, it is a discouragement or a demotivation for them to stand up and compete fairly in the space. So these are some of the things that we taught. We taught the media fraternity on how to be very, very cautious on the aspect of gender-sensitive reporting.
Okay, it's 1:15, so I'm letting everyone go for lunch before they close the lunchroom. We'll be back at 2:15, and we'll start with WCC, and then we will move on to FOWODE, UDNA, then SWDA. All right, have a good lunch, everyone. Thank you to all the contributors for this session. For all our new participants, lunch is on the first floor.